Quack, quack. Mother duckers. Manekin is a character that you can get for free. They have an element that matches the element of whatever your Traveler is, but they have a different kit from Traveler, and you get them level 90 with fully maxed out talents without any resource cost other than the time it takes to go into Miliastra to get them, because you have to be level 10 in Miliastra Wonderland, which, by the way, I'm going to show you in a bit here how to, like, it'll probably take you like 30 minutes to be able to max level your Manekin. But anyways, I'll show you the strat to get them leveled up for free, and I think they're worth giving a shot because they're completely free. But as far as whether or not you can main them, of course, I think this is a worthwhile question, to ask, because just the fact that, you can have little cosmetics and you can get some amount of cosmetics for free. The duck suit, well, I do support anyone joining the duck army. The duck suit does cost a couple dollars, I believe, to buy. Technically, someone else gave me the currency to buy this, even though I was going to do it myself. But anyways, so the point is, I think there's going to be people that, just like the idea of using Manekin because it's a way you can express yourself. But unlike the Traveler or every single other character in this game, you cannot use them in any form of endgame. No Spiral Abyss, no Stygian Onslaught, and then in my opinion the biggest loss is that they're not allowing us to use them in theater, because having two mannequins for free even, that you could use in theater as a free character leveled up, that can have, any different element, the same elements Traveler can be, would have been really, really good, and they have a kit that actually could work really well in theater too, but alas. Mihoyo is scared of the power of Manekin, and that is why we cannot use them there clearly, so maybe I can show you some of that power. Well, okay, to be serious, Manekin's damage potential is not very high. They have a 241% multiplier on their skill, and they have the same exact kit, by the way, for all the different elements they can do. So you can do Pyro, Hydro, Dendro, Cryo, and sorry, not Cryo yet. Everything but Cryo right now. Same thing that Traveler can be. So they have the same multipliers for their whole kit, right? Skill is an instance of damage, whatever elemental type, with a 10-second cooldown and 2 usages. So that's 2 skill usages per 20-second normal kind of rotation dynamic with Genshin teams. And by the way, you have RNG particle generation. I believe it's a 50% chance for 2 particles and a 50% chance for 1 elemental particle of whatever type they are. And with a 60 energy cost burst, that means, if you're using them solo their element, their burst is quite expensive. And their burst is worth using because it's a big multiplier. So if you're doing say Pyro, like my Manekin is right now, this is a big multiplier that can trigger a not insignificant amount of melt damage. The trespass damage is from this little ring that spawns, and then whenever enemies enter inside or leave it, it will cause this damage to happen, and that can apply the element as well. So it looks like this, right? So just a little ring you have, and this lasts 8 seconds. And when enemies enter or exit, it will, apply elements and do damage. But if you switch off field before the 8 seconds is done, it explodes because they have a passive right here that says it does 200% of their corresponding elemental type. So you could use that on purpose, swap off early in order to get, more damage. An unfortunate side effect, though, of this, trespass mechanic, wherein, it's enemies entering or exiting, it means Electro and Pyro Manekin, if you have their burst up, can't be used to trigger Dendro cores, right? So no burgeoning or hyperblooming with their cores. You have to do burgeon or hyperbloom with their skill activation and then normal attacks, which can be a little bit awkward in my experience. And it made me like Electro Manekin in particular a lot less than I thought I was going to like them. So yeah, that's kind of it for Manekin's kit. I have a stream I will link in the description if you want to see me testing a whole bunch of different things, and that's with every Manekin element, because I'm not going to be able to cover everything in this video. Ultimately, their highest utility is that they can just apply an element of whatever you want, spam their charge attacks a little bit, and that can be used to drive reactions for off-field damage dealers. So I think their strongest team archetype build around is to have, off-field damage dealers like Brina and Anefa, and then if you want, you can throw in a buffer that can make Manekin do a little bit of damage. That's why I like actually this team to start with. This is an over-vape team. You can get some significant vaporized damage with the buffs from Farina and Anefa and Chevers together, and then, the rest of the team's damage is coming from Anefa and Farina, but Manekin very much feels like they're contributing something, and it would be hard to complain about the damage output from this team. And it's also really, really important, this is a team that performs well enough you could clear Abyss with this. I wouldn't have much of a problem. But you can't use them in Abyss, so, you don't have to reach any particular DPS threshold. It's just, it's completely just your vibe, right? Of how much damage you want to be comfortable, like using them in domain farming, using them in co-op, using them to do whatever you dang well please, right? There's not going to be a DPS check, so it's just kind of up to you and what you enjoy for a play style. There's potential things coming out in the future. Future character releases will give more and more options for, you know, Mannequin to feel more usable, and particular off-fielders that can also do buffing, whatever, yada yada, right? All kinds of things. And I just want to mention buffs because I think buffs for characters like Fischl are going to make Mannequin more and more usable as time goes on. So I'll show you this team. I'll probably show you a silly, you know, get a giant number team abusing my C2C lolly. Again, like C2C lolly is going to significantly amplify the damage number I'm going to see. I'm going to show this for the purpose of showing that you can get a big melt, you know, on them. The setups are weird for it, though, because of how Mannequin applies pyro. But like, I don't like melt Mannequin, but if you want to see a really big number, you can do that, right? And I think I want to show a team with Geo Mannequin with Navia, because I actually like the dynamic of Geo Mannequin and Navia together. And I want to show some Dendro shenanigans with both Electro Mannequin and Dendro Mannequin. Oh yeah, it's worth mentioning, you get 2 mannequins at once, but you cannot put them both in the same party, unfortunately, because, again, MiHoYo was clearly scared of their power. Imagine the power if you could have 2 mannequins in the same party. It would be fun, again, if you could change elements, but oh well. Really, it means, you know, you can have 2 different characters to customize. Oh, there's one fun thing I forgot in case you weren't aware. I don't have it configured right now. You can configure, you know, different outfits for mannequins. So if I go to manage plans, okay, so I created a new outfit plan. You can add a whole bunch. So this is my, you know, default wonderful look, of course. And I believe now if I press my skill, wow, she got a haircut. And you can see her dead inside. Surprise, you thought my character was good looking underneath the bangs. No. So that gimmick of randomly changing to your different outfits. So if you set like 10 different outfits, I believe like every single skill you do, it'll randomly select one of the other ones from your default one. And yeah, cosmetic expression is cool. Miliastra, I think, as a game mode, you know, being fun to play on average to motivate you to get the skins or spending money in the skins is a question of whether it's worth it to you. I personally am not intending to spend a ton of time in Miliastra right now. This isn't to say I think it's bad, I think it just needs a lot of time to cook. It's a user-generated content mode, right? And I think MiHoYo has to improve a lot of the tools for people to create content, and I think the community has to figure out a lot of ways of like how to make unique content in it that isn't just like ripping off other video games but making them bad. And I have had some fun experiences in Miliastra so far, but, you know, it's very hit or miss, to say the least. So before I get into showing you some of these teams with Mannequin, let me go show you how to level them up because, you know, there is an easy strat for it that really won't take you that long. Alright, so this icon on the top right, the little book icon, I'll click on that. This will show your Wonderland level, and then you can see the Wonderland level rewards. And the important thing here is level 10, you see, mannequins can ascend and level up. And as soon as you get to level 10, you can take them straight from level 20 to level 90 with full talents and everything. There's no in-between. I kind of think they should have done an in-between, but there isn't one. And you do have a weekly XP limit, I believe about 7,000 per week, and, you know, it takes more than 7,000 XP to go from level 1 to level 10. So I had to go through the weekly reset, technically. So we're going to go to the level selector icon, and up here we have an All Wonderlands button. And what we're going to do is go to All Wonderlands. There's a filter in the top left, and then we're going to sort by duration right here, less than 2 minutes. And what we're going to see is a whole bunch of XP farming challenges that pop up. And you want to make sure you have, I'd say, like, get like 4 or 5 of them, like, that have achievements. And you can tell they have achievements because here's the base information page. There's a tab to the left over here that have achievements. Achievements are very important in order for you to get XP quickly. And I would press the star button after you find one like this that gives you achievements. If you don't use the create private room button up on the top right, you're going to have to queue with random people, assuming the level supports queuing with multiplayer, and that will take it a lot longer to do. So we're going to create a room. And we can just click there, hit start game. And usually these are made to just immediately autocomplete. Apparently this one has a cat meme. And sometimes, like, this one has, you know, an actual environment and something you do. I'm guessing you probably, oh, you interact with the bird. So this one takes a little bit longer actually to load in. There are some that literally autocomplete and immediately give you the things without even loading into anything at all. And those ones are faster. So we got a bunch of achievements there. And then we'll go back to the lobby. We'll go check how much XP did I get. You can see I got 500 XP from that. And once you find, I'd say 4 or 5 of them, what you can do is you can favorite them. So you see I have, well, I don't know what happened with this one, but this one was an XP farming one. And I have this one. I have this one, which is just hitting a chest. But now I've already gotten the achievements in these levels, right? So if I go into them again, I won't get the achievements again. I won't get any additional XP for the achievements. But there's a manage saves button in the top right here. And in the manage saves button right here, you can hit manage and then manage again in the bottom right. And then you can select the level. So I can select my XP farm things, all 5 of them. Delete. It'll ask you to confirm. And we go back. And now if we click on these, you'll see I haven't gotten the achievements anymore. So we'll go do the same exact one that I just did. And then we're going to be able to get the achievements again and get more XP from it. You do not need to have 500 different levels that you select. You can just go and have a few levels that you reset every few instances. The only reason you want a few is because it takes you less, stupid image. It takes you less time to have to like go into that menu to reset your save constantly. So that's why I'd recommend having at least, 3, 4, or 5 of them. And you can put in the ones, you can search the IDs. You can see we got more XP from it. Wow. This one, I believe, should be an instantly loading one. And as soon as this is done, yep, it's just going to load in and it's going to be like, wow, good job for playing a game. And now we're level 11. Wow. Like if I wasn't yapping to explain this to you, it would have taken me literally just, a minute there to go from level 10 to 11, right? How about another one? Oh, that one took me really out of it. It was a struggle to get those achievements. So anyways, as you can see, that took really a long time and basically just got me to level 12. That's it, right? Like it's extremely easy. I honestly probably overcomplicated the explanation for it, but it's just abusing the way that XP is given out for both completing games the first time, but since you can reset the saves or just play infinite games, it really quickly end up getting to level 10. And the weekly XP limit is more of a barrier than the actual time you have to spend here if you do this strat. And you should probably do that anyways, because, you can get some standard wishes from the ascensions of both mannequins. So you can get 6 free standard wishes. Crazy. Probably won't give you anything, but it's not nothing. So, you may as well do it for the very low time investment. Alright, so I gotta equip my mannequin. I think I'm just gonna leave them on Farina's weapon, because I think it's a funny weapon. Why? Because look how the blue and yellow contrast works. It's so nice looking. I'm probably just going to put Mannequin on one universal build that it's not going to be a perfect build for any of these teams, but then I won't have to change it. That's my thinking. I'm going to leave them on attack goblet just so I don't have to change their goblet. You should probably use an elemental goblet if you main a particular element of Mannequin. But so I'm just going to put them on a noblesse build. It's, not going to be that much worse than just doing a two-piece build. And my Mannequin has 80 crit rate, a little bit of ER, and 194 crit damage. Is that enough ER for every single team? Is that enough whatever? No, not necessarily, right? The purpose of this is just to show, them with some damage stats and to show you they can get damage. Wow. My Frina will be on Tenacity, and my Nefa probably should be on a Gilded Dreams build or something to make her get more damage than this, because this, artifact set makes more sense with 2 Nod Cries in the team, but that's fine. I'll show you with Ino as well. Hello, Knuckle Duckle. Are you prepared to meet your end by the superior duck? Whack, whack, whack. Am I quacking? I'm energy. Oops. Alright, well, while we're doing the rotation setup, make your prediction now for what the damage we're going to get here is going to be. Do that. Bam! 100k, let's go. 50k from activation. And we can just spam some attacks, and we can, activate that, and then do that. 70k, not bad, right? It's not gonna do a C1 Frina, which is helping a little bit, obviously. Well, maybe more than a little bit, you can argue. But again, we're not in an endgame context. This is way more than comfortable enough damage for farming a boss, which is and doing general farming. You're not gonna complain about this kind of damage output, generally speaking, from overworld context, and they wouldn't complain about meaningfully less, I should say. So. Anyways, if I see anyone complaining, oh, you have C1 Frina, and that's the only reason this team worked, no, it's not how things work. But whatever. You can choose to believe what you want. The point is that there's a lot of options for off-field damage dealers and buffers in this game at this point that can make you get good damage on Mannequin. And we're just going to remove Farina as a factor here, but we'll throw an Ino, right? It'll enable the double Nod Cry set. Oh, I guess, now that I think about it, I didn't even think about the fact that it enables the double Nod Cry on-field set. Okay, I didn't want to change all my artifacts constantly for this whole video, but I will at least do it this time. Fine, I guess we're changing my artifacts anyways. For this one instance, I'll give a pyro goblet, okay? Go fight this boss this time, because it's a butthole. Crap. Yeah, okay, do that. And bam, bam, and brap. Nice, 60k still, bam. Did I miss a hit on that? I don't know if I did. Whatever. Oh, you frickin' butthole. Oh, okay, well. I missed my skill hit. Such is life, I guess. We're gonna do this. Charge up with lunar damage. Bam. Okay. Bap. Bam. Nice. 69k. Yeah. Crazy idea. We're getting less damage than with Farina. But, you know, our overload damage like at 80k there. It's 31k skill. Again, like, this is an annoying as hell boss. We're using a double knockout team, mind you. But, right, we're using one limited 5-star. And yeah, C6 Shivers helps, but like really, it's just, remember Shivers does buff, by the way, without having full Pyro Electro. It's only the Red Shred buff we don't get. We still get, you know, 40% attack, and you can use Bennett still if you want. I like Shivers for how her healing works for the team, and then giving an attack buff for everyone on the team. You know, notably a Nefa would get an attack buff, whereas if you're on-fielding with Bennett, unless you have a Nefa on-field, you're not getting Bennett buff for a Nefa, right? An example of one of the, you know, formats. And yeah, you can get decent damage on Manekin without Farina, right? Without as many 5-star teammates. But, you know, Farina's still compelling here. I like Farina a lot for over-vape team context. And so, like, I think that is by far competent enough for anyone, like, any normal player. This team does damage output in a way that feels good. You're doing damage output. You're utilizing the fact that they can just have pretty good constant pyro application to get extra overload damage, right? You're getting like 15,000 overload damage on the build we had. And you could just do full EM instead, by the way. You probably get like 30k overload damage, right? I know, by the way, was on a 4-star... Oh, whoops. I thought, oh yeah, she's on Deepwood for Nefer. My bad. I actually didn't get the proper damage there, because what you should put on Ino here is the 4-star artifact set instructors, which gives team-wide EM. But we should probably show the really stupid thing, which is, let's pretend if Manekin was Moika and just try to get like a big melt hit on their burst and their skill. So yes, I'm going to use my C2 Sitlali. The point of this is honestly to show how stupid it is. Alright. Putting Manekin back on the Noblesse build, not because it is best, but just because it's going to be good enough, and that I don't have to think about things. So 2k attack, yep, 80 crit rate, some ER, yada yada. My experience, the reaction setups for this can be kind of awkward. And again, probably like at least have the damage from like a normal player investment context, so like with C0, and whatever, brap, zap. Oh, come on, you butthole. Alright. Bam, nice, 380k, and then you can see we overtook with, oh crap, okay. Oh, I just, that's the clunkiness I was talking about. So, the way that Manekin applies Pyro in separate instances with their burst activation makes it really hard to like go and get a melt on their burst and then also get a melt on their skill. It requires swapping off of Manekin, which triggers their passive that applies Pyro, and then you have to like do Sitlali normal charge attacks in order to apply cryo to it again, and then switch back to Manekin and use their skill to get a melt. Let me try to actually show that. The very fact that that's, you know, clunky to do setups like these is exactly why I don't think most players would want to play Melt Manekin. But you know what, if you have the investment and you want to see a really big number, the easiest way possible is probably going to be, you know, pretend they're Moika, and then you can just, you know, buff them like you would buff Moika, and they can get a big damage number, right? Alright, do your schmack. I'm going to wait until you jump up this time, because it's going to make the setup easier. I'm going to go. Stop. I do this. Alright. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, do this. Cryo. There we go. Brap. Bap. Oh, oops. Okay, there we go. Brap. And I failed to crit. God dang it. Well, that's the general setup, except don't waste a skill like I did. But yeah, you can see, I don't know, with the investment I have, I can like use this to clear the boss. Well, it's going to spawn the ducks now, which is a problem, but we ignore that. Anyways, it's a funny way to get a big damage number from Manekin. That's kind of all it is. So I'm definitely sticking to Overvape if I want to have fun in Overworld with Manekin. But we should show some fun synergy with Navia. Alright, so for this we need to resonate with Geo. It's been a while since you did that, I bet. And anyways, this is like not fundamentally different again from like using Geo MZ for Navia, in that basically you can use the Geo application that you can kind of front load pretty quickly from Manekin to generate extra crystallizes, which is extra fuel because how Navia works, right, is triggering crystallize gives her a crystal shrapnel bullet. Navia will be on Muika weapon with her signature artifact set. Yay. Oh yeah, this by the way, among I think probably most of the context, I think using Sacrificial Sword is probably very compelling because like you're going to see that Manekin's damage is not going to be not nothing here, but not incredible, right? And using Sacrificial Sword just to have more skill uptime for the Geo Infusion when you need it is probably a good thing. Oh, we are starting with bullets. I should go clear these bullets actually. Bap. This. And we're doing Muika E without doing anything else. Bap, bap. Alright. And we're doing bap, bap, right? We get 50k damage there. And we have full charges, right? And we can do that. And then we do this. And then we do that. And we had full charges again, right? That is actually pretty dang good, in my opinion. And there we go. We still killed it before it went invisible. Why did it teleport? We still killed it before it went invisible. And yeah, this is a highly invested Navia build and whatever, but forbid it would take 30 seconds longer to kill an enemy, right? The point is, right, you can use their kit to do something like you don't field them very long. They can just do supportive utility, and you just want to use the character that you like dressing up, and yeah, right. That's the whole point of this video. And I don't know, maybe they're gonna do something fun with like the lunar reactions, right? With lunar electrocharge, maybe they'll do lunar crystallize in the future, and you know, just doing a bunch of crystallizes with Geo application will build them full EM, and maybe they'll explode like bloom cores too. I guess speaking of bloom cores, may as well show, you know, a low investment hyper bloom team. And this one is just, whoop. This one is one I just largely want as a demonstration of how, you know, accessible this is. Because, yeah, you can just, you know, do normal hyper bloom things, and obviously that one thing just died in one hyper bloom core, I just needed energy. But the accessibility of being able to build these characters, and you know, doing double dendro, by the way, like one of the most annoying things with using Dendro Traveler is they have a really expensive burst cost. So getting additional dendro particles is pretty nice for Dendro Traveler, right? If you don't, especially if you don't have, you know, fab swords or sack swords or whatever available. Oh, I should have mentioned this earlier. So, Manekin actually has some movement tech that is, you know, similar in value to, like, movement tech on mini characters in the game. Not as good as, like, Varasa or whatever, right? Duh. So if you press their first normal attack, you can see they lunge forward, right? So what you can do is you can cancel this animation, because if you just, you know, spam your normal attacks, you don't keep going forward that much. But if you cancel the animation, so we do this, and then press the walk button, you can move forward pretty quickly. Point being, it's some nice movement tech that, you know, when you're going 0.8 BTB, it's nice to have any kind of movement tech to be able to move a little bit faster potentially, and in particular when you have no stamina. Alright, hello friend, brap, brap. Alright, we do this, brap, yep, we do another dendro application here, and bram, cute, nice 30k, I didn't have to do that yet, that was dumb, whatever. It's hyper bloom, crazy, we can swap to this, right? And this team should be doing like 20 well, actually one thing that's interesting with this team, and one downside now I think about it, that Dendro Traveler has, and this is yet another reason to potentially want to do double Dendro, is Dendro Traveler has 20-second cooldowns, and that means they might be lacking in some Dendro application at certain points that don't line up well with when Ino's and Kuki's abilities are going. And yeah, anyways, and you're dead, right? It's Hyper Bloom. There's not really that much to talk about here, right? But it's a fairly comfortable team. It's easy to build because you just need, you know, EM sets in your characters. Ino has a super low energy cost. Easier to build these two characters because double Dendro reduces energy costs, and you can keep up Dendro application. You keep up Hydra application pretty much constantly because it's freeform and quick swappy. I don't know. I like it a lot. Like, it might not be that interesting because, oh, Hyper Bloom is boring, but this is, you know, another way you can very easily main Manekin. Alright, this might be a mistake, but we're going to try to fight the Papilla. I think it'll be fine. So even if it gets its shield up, I have, we got Official here. Should be good. Yep. Alright, but, oh, I don't have my energy. Ah, crap. Well, oh well. Don't forget to do Tignari, Brap, Bap. Alright, do Official, do this. Okay, oh, we're fine, actually. Can you come back here? Bam. Bam, there we go. Okay. What do we get? We got like a 15k aggravate? That's not bad, considering our build is not really made to do good aggravate damage. Can you not just teleport away, bro? Okay, well, this also was a mistake, because it just doesn't even let me attack it properly. But, you know, we'll go fight a different enemy. Because this is a lame enemy, but either way, you can see we can get the Papilla Shield without a problem here. Crap, 20k damage, wow. I mean, not much, but again, I have the incorrect build on, right? We'll just fight Mr. Dorito again. Okay, and we'll do official, do this. Bap, bap, oop. I forgot, you gotta, you know, wait a little bit. We can flash official, and brap, brap. Okay, just do normal attacks. And yeah, mostly what we're doing here is obviously driving official. Duh. And switch to you, we probably could have switched back sooner. Do you have more compelling options to potentially use here on a maximized damage level? Yeah, duh. But that's not really the point. The point of exploring whether or not you can, you know, use Mannequin and have them feel good to play, right, is just, can you? Because you want to, for whatever reason. This was going to be the last thing I was going to show, but I actually do think I should show Hydro Mannequin, because just in case you were not aware, Hydro Traveler is, you know, not very good. Hydro Mannequin, on the other hand, you know, can have, I'd say, better sustained Hydra application. So in this context, I will actually give them Sack Sword. I'm somewhat curious if Mannequin can actually hit the shield on this crab. I'm not sure. Find out. Brap. Okay. Brap. Okay, brap. Okay. Oh. They kind of can. Their skill activation can their burst? Not when they weren't down. Okay. Well, that's kind of typical of most Hydra units, to be fair. So, I don't know. We're doing decent damage to it, though. Alright, let's see if we can get to the shield, though, before we kill it. I don't know. Cookie burst, get to the shield a little bit. Crap. Okay, I think we're gonna kill it before we get to the shield. Oh, no, we didn't. Alright, Bram. Alright, and then we could, you know, do that. Okay, well, anyways, it works fine, clearly, right? Like, we were getting Dender reactions, we were driving things going on. It do work. Mannequin was just driving the rest of the stuff on the team. So I think you probably just don't use, you know, a VV swirler here, but we're gonna do this. Alright, and then Brap, and Brap. Brap. Let's do this. What am I doing? Okay. Yeah, we're getting 40k off-field vapes. Yeah, not bad. Alright, continue applying Hydro. Yeah, I mean, we're keeping up reactions without a problem. And getting any swirls past this point is now not possible, but we ignore that. Oh, 42k, look at that. Wow. Yeah, so we could get higher damage if we actually got swirls consistently, but that's fine. This would be a, yeah, this would definitely be a circumstance of, you're not swirling Pyro, you are swirling Electro and buffing enough as damage, and that's fine. You're still getting the EM buff from Sucrose, which is pretty good. And yeah, so I don't know. From a context of like, oh, how would this perform in Endgame and Stygian Onslaught or Spiral Abyss? Obviously not near as well. But you can't use them there. So that's not a relevant factor to evaluate Mannequin by, right? Again, Hoyoverse was clearly too scared of their power level. But ultimately, I think this is where Mannequin's utility will lie if you want to play them, is use them as a driver, or you could try to get more decent damage from them if you want to use them as a Pyro DPS with whatever Pyro DPS team archetype you enjoy the most. That's my overall vibe. You can absolutely main Mannequin as long as you don't care to use them in endgame. And yeah, quack quack.